How do we make sure we come off as confident and not as arrogant or pushy? Okay, so how do we come off not as arrogant or pushy? Well, confidence has nothing to do with telling people what to do, because pushy is like, hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? Confidence is something about yourself, right? It's about you. It's not about other people. Because if I'm confident and someone isn't, I don't know if they're confident or not, but for me to push my confidence onto them is not a good thing. Confidence is for yourself. And because it's for yourself, you are monitoring yourself more than other people, right? The biggest issue that, like I said, sometimes in jobs, school projects, everything else, is one person becomes someone who thinks they know everything. Like, oh, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. But confidence is an inner thing for yourself, which means knowing what you're good at. And confident that, yeah, some things we might not do it well, but we still got to do it. We still got to work on it. We still got to make sure that it happens, right? Confidence becomes arrogant is when you start pushing your confidence onto other people. Hey, why can't you do it, man? Just be confident. What's wrong with you? Just do it. That's not confidence. That would be becoming pushy, and that would be becoming someone who I guess would be arrogant, as in they think they know better than everyone else, when that's not really true either. We only know about ourselves. We really don't know anything about other people. So confidence is something about yourself. It's not so much about other people. But when you're confident in yourself, which means that we have to also put into practice the encouraging and praising of the behaviors that are good. Which means all the people around you say, hey, good job on this. Yeah, you did a really good job on this. I'm so thankful that you did this for me. Oh, man, that's so awesome. And even if they make a mistake, you're like, hey, that's fine. It's like, hey, don't worry about it. We're going to work on this. But, I'm really thankful that you're actually doing this. So you want to get yourself to understand that the confidence is for yourself and is not for other people. We're not sure what the confidence level about other people are. And this is when people start to seem arrogant, when they start pushing their confidence to other people. Let's go next question. Let's go to JB. This is JB in Malaysia. This is Jade. Jade in Malaysia, and the question is, I can't stop comparing myself to others. What should I do to stop? Okay, so this comes into self-worth. Comparison is not having enough confidence in yourself, so you're always compared to other people because you don't really think that you're very good at something. From one thing I do want to say is, there are some things that we do that actually lowers your self-worth that you should try to avoid. And one of the biggest ones, I'm gonna tell you this, I'm not sure if you're in this situation, is if you have too much screen time. Like TV, watching movies on your computer, watching all these like Netflix, whether it's on your phone or your laptop or your TV. And studies show that the more TV that you watch, the less self-worth you have. There's nothing, this is crazy as it sounds, right? The more you watch TV, the less self-worth you have. And there's a couple of reasons for this, because the more and more you spend time on the TV, the less you become lazy, the less inclined you are to exercise, the less you are inclined to do something new, the less productive you are. And what happens is, after watching it, like for an entire day, you actually haven't done anything. And you look at yourself kind of lesser. So there are several things, habits that we have that do cause us not to look good at ourselves, and your self-worth goes down. And there's some things I can tell you that are very good for you. For instance, like exercise. Exercise is a very good thing, and learning something new. Like, these are two things I probably suggest to you, Jade, and this will help you in your self-confidence and your self-worth. It's a lot, just in this day and age, screens are everywhere. And they say the average person, well, especially nowadays, they say the average person has 5 screens. TV, smartphone, tablet, laptop, and like computer screen. Crazy, right? But we have about 5 screens. So the time that we spend on this, whether it's social media, watching movies or dramas, whatever it is, there's direct correlation that the more you watch, the less self-worth you have, because in the end, you haven't done anything, right? And then we start to compare because I've been like this for so long, and look at them, they're growing so fast. And the answer is, I do suggest you try to boost, this is what you call like a booster, boosting your self-worth and self-confidence by trying things like, one of the best things to learn, I tell you right now, is a musical instrument. It's one of the best things to learn for self-worth. Yeah. So learn something new. And as you're achieving better and better, let's say a musical instrument or some sport, and exercise. Those two things, if you start implementing that into your daily life, you will actually improve your self-worth. So comparing yourself to others is not something where you just stop, like, how do I stop comparing myself to others? Well, the deeper answer is, what do you think about yourself? And you want to boost yourself, right? Understanding that, yeah, your confidence comes from the things, the repetition and the things that you're doing. So you have to boost yourself, and then you stop comparing to other people, right? Because if you're growing and they're growing and everyone's growing, you're not sitting there like, wow, look at the gap is so big. They're so much better than me, right? So if anything, the best thing you could do is boost your own confidence or your self-worth. All right, let's go to a question. Let's take a look at Deborah in Singapore. Deborah in Singapore says, as for point 3, which means the environment around you, what if someone or myself gets complacent after focusing on praising but not pointing out the areas of improvement, right? So here's the thing. If you're someone, because number 3 is about incentivizing the good behavior that you need. The one great thing about incentivizing good behavior, and because we haven't really tried it, we might think to ourselves, oh no, we might go complacent. But actually, when you start to praise and encourage people in the good behaviors, it leads to the best result. Let me give you an example. Let me give you a study that was shown, okay? So let's just say that in an organization, you have a goal to hit. Or let's just say a business, a goal, and you have your team has to make like 10,000 sales. Okay? So what happens is people incentivize the end point of 10,000 sales. Okay? So the first team hits the mark, and you incentivize and you give them, oh, good job, we'll give you money, you get bonuses, whatever it is, right? But the process was terrible, which means this boss was like angry and yelling. People hated being there, but somehow they just got to that point. They lied, they cheated, they murdered, they steal, whatever it is, right? They did the worst things, but they hit the goal. So you incentivized it, which means that it makes them think that this is okay as long as they hit their goal. But no one's happy. Turnover rate is huge. But the second team, they didn't hit their goal. But their team leader is amazing. Everyone is happy. They want to work there. They have these good habits. So what happens is they might not hit their goal now, but if you don't incentivize them, it makes everyone think that you have to become like that just to get the bonus. You have to incentivize the good behaviors. Why? When you have good behaviors, long term, it's much better. If you incentivize the result, because people are so unhappy and they don't want to be there, you hit it for a year and you're done. And what we need to do is incentivize a good behavior, right? And when you incentivize it, those good behaviors are going to lead towards a greater result in the long run. Now, are there things to improve? Yes, there is. Of course there is. But people can handle improvements in a better and greater state of mind than when they're down and not feeling well. They usually give up and they stop. The last point I made was that it's not about saying nothing about what needs to be improved. It's actually about making sure that you're incentivizing and you're encouraging and praising the good behavior so they keep doing those good behaviors. But also, of course, along the way, we do have to talk about some of the improvements too. But my point was, the problem is that people only point at, you're not doing good at this. There has to be far more praise, far more encouragement about the good behaviors than just constantly pointing out the bad things. So I'm not saying don't do it, but there should be far more about these great behaviors you would want in your organization, in your school team projects. Those are the things you want, because in the end, people will stay when they're happy. People will be more productive and efficient when they're happy. right? If you force people into certain things, they're only happy for a little bit, and then eventually they want to change. All right, I hope that helped, Deborah. Let's go over to King in KL. King says, how to change the attitude if the thoughts are influenced by our own experiences, right? That's a great question. How can I change the attitude of my thoughts if it's influenced by my experience? Now, two things here. Number one is, what is the experience? And in that experience, like whatever experience you had, did you give up? Right? Like, oh, I'm no good at it. And then you realize, oh, I tried this, it didn't work. Oh, I'm no good. Or were you someone that even though you didn't do it, you keep repeating and repeating until you get better and better and better? Because sometimes our experiences are fooling us because our attitude or our perception is that I should be good after I tried it once or twice or 3 times. But even if you look at the prophet Elijah, he was the prophet and still did it 7 times until it worked. So for us too, we have to realize repetition is something that has to happen until it works. Because you're going to get better and better until the end. But your past experience might be based on the attitude that's wrong, as in, I tried it twice, didn't work, I'm terrible, so now I'm terrible at this. When the person who is confident will say, no, I tried it twice, it didn't work, let me try it 3 times. Well, let me try it 5 times, let me try it 10 times. Do you guys know who J.K. Rowling is? I'm sure you guys do. Does anyone know J.K. Rowling's? Harry Potter? Do you know how many times she got rejected before someone actually took her film of Harry Potter? Because Harry Potter made billions of dollars, right? Books and sales and toys and movies, billions, right? Do you know how many people she took it to, how many rejections she did? She went 12 to 13 times before someone said, okay, let's try it out. But imagine what our attitude is. Did I try it once or twice? Maybe 3 times. Honestly, some of us, after 2 or 3 times being rejected, would you think, maybe it's not good? Maybe it's not good. After 5 times, maybe it's not good. After 7 times, maybe it's not good. After 10 times, maybe it's not good. But she kept going, and the 12th and 13th time, someone took it. And it became one of the most popular series, like 7 movies and books and everything else, right? So what we have to realize is your past experience might not be actually that true because your attitude back then might not have been the best attitude. Like you should have done it more and you could have accomplished it, but you didn't because you stopped some time. So that's why when you say, my past experience shows that I'm terrible at it, we'd have to look at it, that exact experience in detail. And say, this is what happened there. Why? Because sometimes it could be us, sometimes it could be other people, and sometimes it's the situation. Like right now, oh my gosh, I'm not making any money. And the answer is, it's called lockdown and a pandemic. What can you do? So sometimes it's situation and circumstance, sometimes it's us, sometimes it's other people, and we need to understand the situation really well before we can assess and say, look at that, that shows you I'm bad. You have to really assess the whole situation. Let's go to the last question. We're going to go just one more, right? Just so we'll end it here. Too many questions. Let's go James. James in Kuala Lumpur, he says, I've experienced failure and rejection in the past. How do I bounce back to build self-confidence if I'm too intimidated to even get started again? Great question, and I kind of brought it before, is you have to start something. To build your confidence, you need to have these mini victories. And it doesn't have to be in that thing, which means what? And mini victories, start exercising. I'm serious. Exercising, one of the great parts of exercising is it releases endorphins in your brain. And it makes you feel good, and then you start losing weight, you start getting stronger, you get muscles, you feel healthy. This is, exercising is one great thing you can do just to start these mini steps of self-confidence. It doesn't have to be in your job, because if you don't have self-confidence in the work that you're doing, it's okay, because confidence can be built from an array of different things. Learning something new, learning an instrument, exercising. This might sound really bad, but video games. Video games actually has very, very good, good benefits to it. However, like I'm not trying to tell everyone to go play video games. However, the problem is it works if you can go 1 hour a day. I'm dead serious. 1 hour a day. If you can do video games 1 hour a day and stop at 1 hour, then the benefits are very, very big. However, not many people play for just 1 hour. And I know many of you are looking at me on the screen, like having that guilt of like, oh no. And the answer is, a lot of people play like 4 to 6 hours a day. It's crazy. Then this is totally not beneficial. That you ruin the benefits of it. They say it's 1 hour. 1 hour. If you can control yourself, benefits of video games is if you do it for 1 hour, it actually even helps your social life. Crazy as that sounds. If you do it for 1 hour. So stay away from the TV. Just 1 hour video games. Well, I'm not saying to go play video games though, but just limiting it. But it does have benefits. Trying exercising, learning something new. You want to work on other things that give you baby steps to build your confidence again. Yeah, I understand a lot of people have been shattered because sometimes you're working with people that are they're not confidence boosting people. And I know that's terrible to be working with these types of people, but I really hope that you kind of look at all the different things and to slowly build your confidence again. Yeah, try other stuff. Learn new things. Do it on your own. See what it is, right? Go exercise. Try, what was I saying before? Exercise and learning something new, especially like a musical instrument. There's tons of apps on there's apps that teach us how to play piano and like do stuff like that too anyways. So I learn something new. So baby steps, a little bit of time, and you'll boost your confidence once again. And that brings us to the end of today's show. I hope that everyone had a wonderful time on Bubble Talk. We'll see you again next Saturday. And yeah, we'll be posting up the new topic for next week. Next week, I believe it's, I don't know what it is actually. So thank you for coming today for today's Bubble Talk on boosting your confidence. I hope self-confidence, and I hope that you guys learned something new today, and we'll see you again next week. All right, bye-bye.